Everybody, I'm Joyelle McSweeney. I'm the Director of Creative Writing, and it's my privilege, on behalf of the Creative Writing Program in the Department of English, to welcome all of you to this year's reading by the 15th Nicholas Sparks Fellow, Mr. Kyle Muntz. As you are no doubt aware, Nicholas Sparks himself funded this annual Sparks Prize to be awarded to a distinguished graduate of the Creative Writing Program. The prize pays a stipend of $20,000 and allows a writer one post-graduation year of residency and writing time. The Sparks Prize winner is also asked to give one public reading, at which you find yourself this evening. The prize is selected by an outside judge who reads the submitted works by every applicant and reads them blindly with no names attached. Last year's judge was Carmen Machado, whose book, quote, her book is called Her Body and Other Parties, and it's just been released from Grey Wolf. Everyone should read that too. That was amazing work. She's an artist in residence at Penn, and she writes criticism and essays for the New Yorker, Granta, NPR, and elsewhere. So of Kyle's prize submission, Carmen Machado, the judge, wrote, "The Showdown," that was one of the pieces, "is a piece of historical speculative horror, a matching of a ferocious, infamous Wild West fighter's final battle with an otherworldly opponent as told by his young gay lover. In The Dust Country, a dystopian liminal fantasy, a man returns to his broken, impoverished hometown where his brother still resides with an antlered woman. Both of these stories," writes the judge, "snap and hum with a weirdness, eeriness, and queerness in every sense of the world that I find utterly intoxicating. A cross between Karen Russell and Brian Evanson, but with an atmosphere entirely of their own. The malformed, monstrous Burning Man of Showdown and the Manufactory, a decaying near-future industrial complex with unsettling vagueness of purpose, whose ruin has ravaged the landscape post-apocalyptic of dusk, are marvelous for mood and metaphor. Both stories have compulsively readable narrators and restrained, haunting prose. I could read an entire book of them. I am pleased to award these stories," that is Kyle's stories, "and their author," that is Kyle, "first prize." I think Carmen Machado puts it very beautifully, and I don't have much to add. You'll be pleased to hear, other than my pleasure and anticipation at Kyle's reading tonight. I first met Kyle before he applied to our program when he was a student at IUSB, attending readings such as this one. His enthusiasm for and curiosity about writing in all its variety was evident even in casual post-reading conversations, and this impression was continually confirmed over the 2 years he was in this program. Kyle approaches prose genres with the enthusiasm and wonder of a kid on Christmas morning who immediately takes a complicated toy apart to see how it works and then reassembles it in grotesque, humorous, and somehow moving hybrids with other disassembled toys. His stories are part stuffed dog and part chemistry set. He writes in many genres, and I think he loves them all, but however he happens to write, his work has an almost anatomical efficiency. That is, it has symmetry, shape, and extension, everything it needs, and only as many vestigial organs as makes things interesting. For example, in the excerpt of Scary People, which is circulating in the department, the main narrative is a kind of Haruki Murakami meets Takashi Murakami super flat caper. Attention suddenly suspends for this moment of suspension from the plot, in which two characters decide to plant a garden. So here's the quote. "A stalk appeared, bending under its own weight. On the stalk was a sheep. It took a few minutes, but eventually the sheep climbed down and started eating grass." End quote. The oddness, stillness, beauty, and focus of that image saturates it with the reader's attention. The image blooms roundly in an entirely different way from the flatness all around it. This image has the kind of perfect arrival one expects of something like Tristram Shandy, and it's a sheer delight to find it here in the midst of a somehow both dreadful and cartoonish tale about casual violence and casual loss. I want to add in closing that, as I've alluded to, Kyle is a lover of genre and writes in a swath of them, including genres like the dystopic or the Western romance. And in this regard, I think he's a lovely fulfillment of the vision of Nicholas Sparks, himself one of the most internationally and intentionally prominent genre writers, a romance novelist. And so, without further ado, let us all welcome in Nicholas Sparks' name back to Our Ladies University, a young writer of great invention and variety, Kyle Muntz.